Hello, future millionaires. This is Aztec, and this is the CSC. From the shadows, here I am. I've been away for a while. We're going to talk about me. We're going to talk about Matic. We're going to talk about crypto.com. You guys know that this channel is all about talking about the most prominent, the most up and coming projects, the projects that have the future. So I've been away for two reasons. One, I've been putting in a lot of hours into my job. I'm in the medical field, and I've started a new line of work, and the training is very rigorous. I'm kind of using my credentials to move into a new area that is kind of at the top of my level, and it's just taken a lot out of me. Secondly, I've really moved into margin trading pretty heavily, and I didn't want to really document all of what I do there because I think 90% of retail really shouldn't touch margin trading. I don't want to shill, the exchanges that I use for margin trading, because I think that most people would actually benefit most from DCA and hodling in general. Not financial advice, but it's just not something that I want people to start emulating me over and lose money. So I don't want to be the person that helps you lose money. I want to be the person that helps you make money. Of course, I never give financial advice. So today, of course, we're going to talk about Matic Network. They are on the cutting edge of scaling Ethereum. They are an amazing project. Yes, there are many other projects that I've talked about in the past that I still love, like Cardano, like Ethereum. But Matic is very interesting. They've been in the shadows for so long, and they shouldn't have been. They really are all over the place. They're at all of the big gatherings, and they've made a lot of headlines. But personally, in my view, I think a lot of these news articles or news agencies are in the pockets of large projects. So Matic really doesn't get the light that it should, the project and the people that power the project. So we're going to kind of touch over what Matic is. I have an article for you. We're also going to talk about crypto.com. They have an amazing ecosystem that allows you to purchase Matic, especially if you're in the US like I am, mainly. It gives you something that's friendly, that allows you to track your all of your movements and everything. So we'll talk about those two projects. The ecosystem for crypto.com is just out of this world. What they're building is, I think, so much more powerful and will probably be the future of ecosystems out there. So I want to bring it to your attention as well. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Let's look over this article. This is a Steemit article. It's made by Kadjar. Sorry if I butcher any names. The title says Matic, the most adopted layer 2 blockchain. So here it says, and we're kind of going to skip through this because there's kind of main parts that are the meat of this article. So it says the Matic Network is a platform that provides scalability, high transaction speeds at 7,000 TPS or transactions per second on a single sidechain, and a smooth user experience thanks to the beginner-friendly interface. Matic is what is known as a layer 2 blockchain, a secondary protocol that is built on top of an existing blockchain network. So in this case, it's built on top of Ethereum. It uses Ethereum's decentralization and security because it's decentralized, and Matic sits on top of it and allows people that build dApps to deploy on top of Matic, and Matic helps scale Ethereum because, of course, we all know, you know, Ethereum bottlenecks and things like that. So Matic sits on top and helps scale it. So it's like these layers. Of course, we have this, the Matic network being the layer 2. So the layer 2 blockchain was invented to allow cryptocurrencies to achieve a high throughput of transactions and solve the scalability problems. The main mission of the Matic network is to enable cryptocurrency users to freely interact with a decentralized ecosystem. Matic is trying to solve the current problems with slow block confirmations and high gas fees in order to achieve mass adoption. The Matic network is a decentralized platform that solves all the issues mentioned above using an adapted version of the Plasma framework. Vitalik has talked a lot about Plasma. I do some deep dives into, you know, the main players of this world, and low key, I really think that based off what I've read that and heard directly from Vitalik, that he's a lot more bullish on this plasma way than a lot of people think. Now, I know that Vitalik really would love to take Ethereum to the next level just by itself, but personally, in my opinion, I think we're years away from that. Even with Ethereum 2.0 coming out, there's a lot of opportunity for, you know, a second layer to make Ethereum go places. I really think that Ethereum needs a second layer because you're not going to scale as fast as they would hope. So, you know, a lot of people are at the neck of Ethereum. You know, there's all these Ethereum killers, and I don't necessarily think anyone's going to kill Ethereum because it's, you know, has that first mover adoption. There's a lot of money, a lot of powerful companies behind Ethereum, and I really think that they're going to kind of move with Ethereum and stay with Ethereum, though there's a lot of opportunities for these other projects that they call Ethereum killers. I think, you know, we're all going to work together in the future, and we're all going to have our niches, or you know, all the different Ethereum killers are going to succeed as well for, you know, for the most part. You know, those projects that are on the top, you know, like, you know, I think EOS might do well if they can fix their governance. Cardano is going to do well if they, you know, just keep going and make moves and complete the moves. Cardano is amazing, but in this case, with Ethereum being, you know, the most powerful you know, project, I would say, with everyone that's supporting it and that's behind it and all the money that's behind it, you really need to scale it quickly because there's a lot of opportunity sitting right behind the curtain ready to explode, but they need the ability to scale. So here comes Matic. So the team of Matic has been working really hard on the project and has completed an extensive 2019 roadmap. So far, Matic now allows users to cross-asset swap between ERC-721 and ERC-20 tokens. The Matic wallet is available on the App Store as well as Google Play. It offers users the ability to instantly transfer Ethereum tokens as well as interact with dApps in a totally decentralized way, which means users won't have to share their private keys with anyone. The project not only, you know, is going to be there to scale, but there's so many different types of projects that are out there, specifically gaming projects that are using Matic currently, experimenting with Matic, and also decentralized exchanges, DEXs that are looking into Matic, and a host of many other projects that are using it. There's so much more to Matic. You know, of course, there's staking. I think a lot of projects are currently dropping their staking protocols and allowing people to start staking. You know, Cardano recently. Matic is also, you know, starting their staking recently. So There's so much more to Matic that I think that you'll want to really dive into for yourself, but I want to kind of give you the gist of what Matic is, and also just kind of give key points that I think why the project is amazing, and why it's worth looking at the same time as I read this article. So here we'll keep going. Um, so a different proof of stake mechanism. The Matic network does use the classic proof of stake consensus, but with a twist. On the Matic network, there is something called a checkpointing layer. Every few blocks on the block layer, a processor will be picked among the holders to propose a checkpoint on the main chain. These checkpoints are mainly used when users want to withdraw their cryptocurrencies. Checkpoints allow users to protect their assets that are there. So basically, this helps Matic create fraud proofs. To kind of summarize, the rest of this paragraph. Multi-chain support and interoperability. I mean, basically, a second layer project theoretically, like Matic, specifically, Matic, can really actually scale many other, level one type blockchains. So it could even scale Bitcoin if they wanted to, but they're working with Ethereum to start. So, anyways, the Matic network supports multiple side chains by design. Theoretically, the network could support an unlimited number of side chains. Anyone is free to use these side chains as they are public. The decentralization of the side chains is made possible by using the checkpointing layer and fraud proofs. According to the official website of Matic, a single side chain can handle around 65,000 plus transactions per second. And guys, this is already happening. There's a lot of projects that say they want to do this, or they can do it, but it's, kind of like within a vacuum. Matic's already showing that they can do this. There's already projects that are testing the waters and, scaling. And actually, if we have time, I want to kind of show you one of their major games that are actually being launched. So we'll get to that soon. Matic Network provides blockchain interoperability to users. It has the ability to seamlessly share information across different blockchain networks. The Matic Network intends to provide users with the ability to exchange different assets from various blockchains. This is huge, guys. This is huge because, example, you have a game, you have assets on one game, like for instance, you have Fortnite and you have all these skins, for the Fortnite game. You can then sell those assets and then move that money over to another game. That's huge. Just imagine not having all your assets locked on one game and never being able to move them out. This, the Matic network is going to give you the ability to move your assets from game to game, either the actual asset or sell it, move the tokens, essentially from one side to another game, so that it will give you more ability to create ecosystems and make money within games, and give you the ability to also just make everything more seamless. So if you have multiple games that you like, and you're playing one more than the other, you can move assets as you wish. And this is kind of like future forward thinking. It's a lot more forward thinking than people understand. I think there's so much more opportunity there. So, the Matic Network is going to allow these games to do this. So, I think that when you look at the games now, you really have to think, to the future. A lot of people look at these games and they go, I want to see better graphics, or I want to see more playability. But we have to understand that whatever you get now, not only are you getting, the most rare pieces of these games now, you're going to be able to, in the future, possibly sell these pieces of in-game um, projects for a lot, or just be able to own very, very valuable assets within game. So I think right now, even though maybe the games aren't, comparable to, let's say, Fortnite currently, they are still pretty fun. They're interesting, and they give you the ability to, be one of the first people on board and own probably what you can use in the future with other games, and possibly even uh, make a lot of money from. A lot of people, or have a lot of, have a larger net worth due to, just dabbling within these games now. So I think it's very important to start looking at these games now, not financial advice. Um, Personally, what my opinion is because I have children, I want to go ahead and start getting them into these games, buying them, because for them, they're definitely, on the level of playing these games currently, because my kids are younger. And imagine letting them have these assets and own them, and by the time they're older, just imagine what they're going to be worth in the future. So that totally went into a whole large sidebar, but I really think gaming is going to be huge, guys. Very, very huge. Everyone's saying DeFi is the next Ethereum boom, but I think gaming, using Ethereum by using second layer, is also going to be huge. So you gotta look into it now, guys. Yes, and the Matic Network has robust security. I mean, the security is amazing because of all of the technology within Matic, but also because they're using um, Ethereum. There's lots of use cases. I've kind of gone over a lot of them, but I think another huge use case that hasn't even come out for Matic is the ability to help DEXs scale. And you guys know the DEXs that are doing well now. Just imagine if they were to ever work with Matic. Um, there's a lot more to come there. There's lots of significant projects that are already building on top of Matic. You can just go to the site and look through the list of them. In conclusion, it says Matic has become one of the biggest blockchain projects in the market. Even though it's a relatively new platform, this is not only reflected in the number of projects using it, but also in the high trading volume of Matic and market capitalization. And guys, when I first posted that trade for Matic, I believe it was sitting around on CoinMarketCap at like 105 or 106 ish, and now it's a lot higher. I think it's close to like the 80th place or even higher. So it's moving very quickly. It's still like an early area. I'd say it's almost the end of the early area for looking at Matic, but it's still early if you're looking at Matic now. So that's why I'm putting it in front of your faces now. Let me just make sure I'm recording. I am. Okay. So, in conclusion, the Matic Network offers solutions to the biggest and most common problems among cryptocurrency projects: scalability and fees. The platform provides projects with the ability to infinitely scale and process transactions at speeds faster than ever, but also lowers the cost of fees dramatically, which is huge because on Ethereum, the fees are a lot more expensive. So if you're trying to create something, a dApp or what have you, you're spending a lot more money to create that. So if you just go on the second layer, not only getting more speed, but it's a lot more affordable. This is what makes the Matic Network so attractive to any project. This is the reason why Matic is the most adopted layer 2 blockchain in the world. And they keep saying this. This is also very important because there's a lot of other layer 2s that have their own like ways of scaling Ethereum or whatever projects that they're trying to scale. But I would say Matic is the most successful, and not everyone even knows about this project. So Very, very interesting. The team of Matic continues to work hard and improve the platform every day. The team is also constantly looking for more and better partnerships to help other projects and incentivize the adoption of blockchain technology. So this is an amazing article. I'm going to go ahead and link it down above for everyone, or down below for everyone, so that you can go ahead and look at it. Again, I would think it's very important that I wouldn't go to like your most general places for your cryptocurrency news. I think you can go there, but kind of learn to filter that, because there's a lot of FUD, because these news agencies are in the pockets of bigger projects, and there's so much FUD there. So you have to learn that that's not all true. Like, for instance, Matic is a project out of India, and there's so much FUD surrounding India that is totally false. The people of India are huge on blockchain. I've been following the IBC conferences for a while. One of my first videos on this channel was talking about Incash, and I started really talking to a lot of people from India and realizing that the government and the people really want cryptocurrency and blockchain to succeed. Not just blockchain, but cryptocurrency. It's not like China, where there's a really big emphasis on blockchain and a little bit less on cryptocurrency. I mean, India really wants the whole shebang to go forward. So and you have a lot of brilliant minds coming out of India. So it's worth really looking at projects coming out of India, but of course, mostly Matic, because not only has, is it Binance, IEO, Coinbase has invested in them. Recently, you have Binance acquiring WazarX, which is an exchange in India. And I think the Indian people are really getting on board behind this project. So I think there's just so many aspects. It's not just development; it's fundamentals, and also that there's a lot of people behind this project from the country that they've started in, that really want to see this project succeed. So there's just so many points that make this project something that I think people should look at. Not financial advice. So, of course, Matic is doing very well, has done very well. I'm not saying that this is the best place to buy. I think that when I posted my chart, that was an amazing place to buy. It's more than doubled. But I really think that even now, looking at this, it still looks bullish, even though it's entirely, away from the EMAs. I mean, you can see that the RSI for Matic is still in a bullish control zone. The MACD shows that there's buying power still growing, still very green. It's not subsiding necessarily at this point. The stock RSI is showing, that a buy signal happened just 2 days ago, and that, it's still pointed up. So there's a lot of bullish things coming off the daily chart. So Matic's an amazing project. Personally, I would want to see a pullback before I place personally, more funds for myself in the project. But it doesn't necessarily mean this project is going to have a pullback anytime soon. So that's my just on Matic. Definitely something to look at. The other project that I have recently posted about is Crypto.com's coin, which is the CRO coin. And you can see here that I actually posted this article about CRO coin. Initially for Matic, I said that they had a golden cross, and I think that's why I was like, hey, I need to post this. The 50 cross the 200-day moving average. But for CRO coin, because it's an ecosystem, you can also buy Matic on it. I thought that this was a very interesting chart. I actually asked some very famous YouTubers about it, and they were like, oh, the chart looks like crap. But I think that they should have looked at this a little bit better, because really there's just so much news that is coming to the Crypto.com platform. They're making so much headway and we'll get into it. But not only that, this is an accumulation phase, and you can see that not only is this an accumulation phase on this chart, it's a descending, broadening wedge, and I drew the lines here. It's descending and it's broadening. This wedge, and this is extremely bullish. If we kind of play forward, you can see that we're bouncing off the bottom of this, and we may be moving up to my first target. If it breaks out, we could see it come up to the 200-day moving average. If you would have bought anywhere towards the bottom of this, you're looking at, if it comes all the way up here, you're looking at nearly a double again. Another double your money chart, and this is in the making. So why am I bullish on crypto.com? They have two tokens. They have the CRO token, which is amazing, and they also have their MCO, which they acquired in Monaco, which has debit cards. Now, they just had this site launched, this crypto.com exchange. It is phenomenal. I think that the usability is amazing. For like a pro type exchange, it's great. They also have an app for a lot of different countries that is more custodial, where you can just purchase mini cryptocurrencies, hold it, and wallet. They have some of the, I would say, probably the best security in all of crypto currently for custodial type exchanges. They have the same type of security that exchanges that sell stocks hold, in the U.S. Very high levels. And I could probably find the specific, off the top of my head, I don't know the credentials, but I have looked into the credentials that they post and that they show that they have, and they are, very, great credentials that you want to see that a lot of other exchanges do not have, which is kind of crazy. So, their security is amazing. Out of like 200 people, I think like 10% of their people behind the project are actually security. So, they have a very good amount of people allotted to security for their exchange, and they also hold, a lot of high credentials for security for their platform. So they have, again, this exchange that just launched, that's powered by the CRO token, which is, the token that I'm talking about in this chart here. So it can be kind of confusing because there's two tokens that they use, and they use them for different purposes. But specifically, I want to talk about the CRO token here because it powers this exchange. It gives you discounts on the exchange. It also gives you, here's the front of this exchange. It's really beautiful. It also gives you the ability to use this here, the syndicate. So check this out. If you hold and stake CRO tokens, you are going to be able to get, if you can have access to the exchange. I do not because I'm in the US, but for a lot of other people in the world, they do have access to this. They will get 50% off EOS because it's being listed on this exchange. So you have to stake the CRO tokens on this new exchange, and in 11 days, essentially, you're going to get, you have the ability to possibly get 50% off on purchasing EOS. That is huge, and they said it's up to the allocation is $500,000 worth of crypto, of EOS. So the syndicate is not just, on this exchange, is not just going to do this for EOS, but it's going to do this for all other projects that are going to launch on crypto.com in the future. Not necessarily 50%, but you're going to have some kind of discount for your projects. And the CRO token is just going to have a lot more utility in the future. So the reason I looked at this chart was because I knew there was all this coming out, and there's a whole lot more for the CRO token that's coming out. But I knew there was so much coming out in this month, and it was at a low. I mean, like when I was looking at this crypto.com or CRO chart, the Oh, sorry, this is Matic. When I was looking at the CRO chart, I saw, this MACD slowly switching over. I saw that the RSI was extremely low, indicating that, that's a great time to buy. I saw this accumulation. I saw this descending broadening wedge. And it's a very new chart because, a lot of exchanges didn't even launch this until beginning of this year. So this token is very new. So look at these EMAs, like the 200 on this daily it barely started on the 22nd of September this year. So you can see that there's not a whole lot of existing data for this chart. It's very new, but seeing that it was at such a great opportunity, such a great buy at the bottom of a wedge, I had to put out a, hey, look at this coin, because there's so much coming out for this project, in the near future. So, they have the exchange, they have the syndicate that is going to possibly launch new projects that, it's not just existing projects, it might even be projects that haven't launched on any other exchange. So you'll have the opportunity to get into new projects at a discounted price. And there's so much more that you would want to look into. Again, if you want to find information about projects, you need to go to Telegram. You need to talk to the moderators on the Telegram channels, because they know the most. They're enthusiasts of whatever project you want to look into, and they'll give you the non-FUD information. So I would say look for Telegram. You can always go to a website of whatever project you're looking at, and you go to the bottom. Usually they'll have something like this where you can find them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, and these are probably the main ones that I use personally. Oh, of course, YouTube. Now for Crypto.com, it has the CRO token, they use it, but they also have MCO. And MCO is a token that you can stake that allows you to have a debit card. So here's the custodial app, and you can buy and hold your cryptocurrencies with, it's very, very secure. They hold all of your funds on cold storage. But here's the cards. These are metal cards that you can have, and I'm not going to show you mine because it's just too much personal information. You guys know I'm extremely private. So you can get these cards, and they all have different abilities. You can get up to 5%, as it says, but that is for this black card, and you have to have a whole lot of MCO to stay to get this card. But I think that for most people, you could get anywhere, between these cards. They have a free card too that you can get where you don't have to stake anything. So you can actually use that if you make profits on trading, or if you ever become future millionaires. This show's all about, hopefully becoming future millionaires. In the future, you're going to be able to move funds over to this custodial app where you can hold your funds securely. You can then move it right on over to your debit card. You can get the free one, or you can get these other cards that have perks on them, like getting free Spotify, getting Netflix, cash back to you in crypto. You can get lounge passes at the airport, and up to 5% back every time you spend. So you potentially have more cash back than you would get on a very popular credit card nowadays. Or very or the same. So these are amazing looking cards. When you hold them in your hand, they're amazing. They're metal, and if you ever want to spend crypto in the future and be able to cash it out, this is actually the best way, because I've read so many articles about people, cashing, a couple $1,000, just a couple $1,000 out of their crypto accounts, moving it off, let's say Coinbase, and putting it into their whatever American bank they have, or whatever bank that they have in Europe or Asia. And these banks asking them questions, and just causing problems, even shutting their bank accounts down, because they're like, where did you get these funds from? So this gives you a way, and especially if you become rich, guys, this is the type of platform, not financial advice, but this is the type of platform you would want to have available for when you become rich, because they're not going to ask you questions. They're like, oh, they're going to be able to see, that you bought this much back here and that it grew, and they're not going to really question generally speaking, you moving it over to your debit card. So this is almost like insurance for you to have if you ever become rich. You have an earn program. It's really awesome. You basically just you can earn money on your Bitcoin and other popular cryptos. You can earn on this up to 18% on the CRO coin. Um, so that's a lot of money per year that you can, it's 18% a year that you can earn. Um, and generally speaking, you're earning up to 12%, for most of the cryptocurrencies, just for staking it on their platform. You also can have credit, which in the U.S. I am not able to use this, but essentially, just to break it down, it's super easy. You have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. You want to take a loan, so you don't actually have to cash out your Bitcoin. You can get 50% of that in TUSD or PAX, and you'll be able to move that over to your card and spend it. It is a loan, and if you have to look into the loans, because they're a little bit different than your average loans. If you get it through a bank, they work a little bit different. But you can get loans. They are developing Pay, and this gives you the ability to use the CRO coins to pay for many different merchants. Currently, I know for myself, I can buy like little cards at gift cards that are electronic that you can use at various merchants, and big merchants too around the U.S. This is Invest. I also can't use this in the U.S., but essentially you actually can build a portfolio, and you have automated trading, quant trading, that is done for you. So they're definitely building an ecosystem. Crypto.com is building an ecosystem that is going to allow you to just put your crypto in, and you'll have many different features all within one app, and you can port over and move it over to their exchange if you want to do some pro trading. In the future, there's so much more. There's going to be, leverage trading, and the CRO token itself will actually be its own blockchain that will be able to act like Visa. So CRO is actually it has a very, very bright future if they can make everything happen. And from what I see, Crypto.com, for both of their tokens that they have, the CRO and the MCO token, that have different utility, they really make things happen. They may miss a deadline by like a couple days, a week, but it still happens. And it's not like a lot of projects where they miss things by years, so which is totally fine, but still happens a lot in crypto. So I would say that this project and website is making a lot of progress. They are, I think, going to be not only are they on the cutting edge of making this ecosystem, creating crypto ecosystems, but they're going to really be able to outcompete many other projects, specifically because they have an ecosystem. A lot of projects will have, I have this one feature, like let's say I have a card, this other project has just the card and maybe a mobile app. I mean, that can't compete monetarily or on many other levels of perks and things that Crypto.com is going to be able to provide you, because they have a whole ecosystem that is driving the platform and the usability and the features and the perks and the future of the creation of the project. So ecosystems are something that a lot of people overlook right now. Having the ability to have an entire ecosystem behind a project that is already developed, already working. So I think people got to look at layer twos. They got to look at ecosystems, and you got to look for these things before they really blast off. And CRO and MCO are still on the early stages. MCO, for instance, the token that's used for the cards, they haven't even branched off into Europe yet, and that's actually happening next month. So there's a lot, even for which, that's not the, I might have to make a chart just for MCO because I hold both, but that is, MCO is different than this CRO token. CRO powers the exchange and has all the other features that I was talking about. MCO is specifically for the cards, but MCO is going to be moving into Europe, and there's going to be so much more that adoption that happens there. So again, I would really say please look at crypto.com. Take a look at it because the ecosystem can really give you a lot of ability. Yes, you have your Trezor. Yes, you have your Ledger. And that's where I always say maybe you should hold most of your, not financial advice, but I think that's the best place to hold most of your portfolio. But in the end, when you're making, little trades, you want to, move money around, you want to do little things. I think that this ecosystem is probably one of the best for, kind of like a centralized type, decentralized type way of doing it. Something like Kyber Network is amazing for decentralization, and then you have, Binance Dex is also pretty interesting. But there's all these dexes that are interesting. But if you're looking for like a very, I was going to say UI, but friendly usability, Crypto.com is amazing. And if you're looking for second layers that are at the top of their game, you're going to look at Matic. So anyways, guys, this is me just catching up with you guys. Again, I'm not here to talk about what I've done mainly in the past 6 months because it's been, like I said, leverage trading, and I don't think people should, personally, in my opinion, not financial advice, I don't think people should really be touching leverage trading in general. So that's why I'm not documenting or why I'm not talking about it. But hopefully I have time to make more videos for you because I've gotten through most of my training at work, and there's just so much that's happened. The guy that you saw 6 months ago is dead. The guy that you see today is full of life, has a whole new outlook on these projects and the future of crypto, and a whole new idea of how to become a future millionaire. So again, not financial advice, but I would say subscribe, like this video, because there's going to be more. I would also say follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me at crypto_circle or at circle_crypto. I'll post my charts here and other things that I think very interesting. I need to step up my game. There's a lot more, Matic information, Cardano, Ethereum information that I really should be posting on my Twitter. You can also follow me on TradingView. I have made, some amazing calls recently, and you can find me at Tachycardia. I have a pro account there. And, you can see what I'm looking at. And when I make these calls, you can see here, here's the chart, but I, put some in-depth reasoning behind the trades. So you'd want to look into that. Anyways, guys, it's been fun. It's been nice. Never give up on the future of money. Take it easy, guys.